Hey there, Good Place fans. Thursdays, am I right? Means it's time for another Good Place after show where we are talking about Season 4, Episode 11, Mondays, am I right? Stay tuned.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, AfterBuzz.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the AfterBuzz TV Good Place After Show.
Yes, we're here.
Yeah, you guys are my good place. I love it. I'm your host, Elena Jordan, joined by the phenomenal Shiksha Mahtani.
Woo! What's up, guys?
Bollygirl herself.
Yes.
Holding it down. By the way, she's got a brand new Instagram filter you guys can check out. It's pretty dope. And of course, Samantha Jacobs in the house.
Hey.
So good to see you guys.
I feel like I haven't been here in forever. I missed y'all last week.
We're all back.
Thank
We're
goodness.
all back.
Yes.
Just in time to be tested. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, look at
I
that.
love
Right
them.
in the booth, holding it down with the sound
Nice.
cues. Loving it, loving it.
I'm on top of it.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
are, of course, talking about The Good Place, Season 4, Episode 11, Mondays. Am I right?
Yes.
I always love the titles of these.
So good.
So
Yeah,
good.
so
So good.
creative.
We'll be talking about the episode, breaking it down, as well as giving our predictions for the only 3 episodes
Oh my
left.
God. You're right.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, snap.
Ah! And, of course, our special segment for your reference, where we'll be talking about the many references that were in this
Yes.
episode, keeping Shiksha on her toes.
I swear.
But overall, what did you guys think of this episode?
It was a good one. There was a lot involved, and I love when they go back to the romance. That's my jam. So I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, this episode was so fully packed. So much happened. We finally got to see some movement in regards to the afterlife and what they're looking to do. We got to see all our favorite characters really come together. So yeah, it was a fun one. I really enjoyed today.
I loved this episode. I mean, I feel like I just say that every week. Like, it's just because the show's so dadgum good that every week is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really, really liked this one. So we get kind of what is happening next, which has been kind of our big question. It's like, okay, so the judge is not going to erase Earth. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
But now what? Now we have to come up with a new test. Mm-hmm. So to come up with this new test, are going to run 1,000 people through. Basically, the people that they think is an easy in or an easy to the good place or easy to the bad place. Like,
right.
Simple decision. Mm-hmm. So now they're having to go through and pick these people. And we kind of have it broken up into 2 different segments where we have Chidi, Eleanor, and Jason going off looking through files while Michael and Tahani and Janet kind of go with the bad place people to try to figure out what they're going to, their architect contribution now that Shawn has kind of passed the proverbial torch.
Yes. Oh my God.
The lava person torch. But talking about Chidi, Eleanor, and Jason,
yes.
What did you guys think about this whole thing about they're looking at their files and Eleanor saying, like, don't look at my file because you're not going to be in love with me anymore, and then immediately saying, no, look at my file immediately because I don't want you to not be in love with me half an infinity from now.
Yeah. It was actually really cute, and it was fun to see something different coming from that couple, just because this whole season has been all about she loves him, he doesn't remember her, now he remembers her, okay, I love you, but we needed something more to like see them as an actual couple. So I really liked that angle that we finally got to see them work together as a couple, remembering each other, remembering that they love each other, and just reinforcing it that much more. So I did think that was cool.
Yeah, because Eleanor is the answer.
Yes.
Always.
Always.
Even when Chidi is wondering what the question is.
Yeah. And reading of the files is interesting. What do you guys think your file would look like?
See, that is a very, very difficult. There'd be a lot of things in my file that I'd be like, oh, yeah, huh. I haven't gotten so bad that I have woken up in Rubbermaid in some random family's basement having thrown up on all their pictures, but...
Only Eleanor.
That's a special kind of Arizona.
Yeah.
I don't know, what do you guys think? What do you think would be some of the standout moments for your file?
That's so hard to say, right? Because
I'll say in general that revealing your darkest secrets or revealing stuff about you is just hard, right?
Yeah.
When, especially if you like someone so much, like you don't know what they're thinking, you don't know how they're going to perceive you, or if you might think something's super funny and they might not think that's funny at all. Like the whole dating thing is just hard.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point.
You know? So for her to just be like, go through that, wait, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to tell you, that's so normal. And like you said, that was like the relationship aspect that we kind of were missing because he was asleep half this season. So
and
like,
now
he's awake. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. And to have the person that you're in love with read every single detail about your life, the good and the bad, and in Eleanor's case, mostly bad, it's a little bit...
Well, it ended up being kind of a good thing for her because it flipped, but then it ended up being Chidi thought she was magnificent and unfortunately was self-conscious in himself. We see this insecurity, which seems to be kind of the theme of this episode, is... Mondays, I guess, are synonymous with insecurity because everybody's feeling insecure. What did you think about this, though, of having this twist of Jason being like, okay, well, if you're saying that on paper you guys don't make sense, so she's going to get bored of you, if Janet and I are opposites, are you saying that Janet's going to get bored of me? And then kind of tricking it and having where... You know, because sometimes you have the situation where you're telling your friends, like, oh, no, you're phenomenal, you're great, while you're saying all these horrible things about yourself. And then Jason being smart enough to trick him and be like, okay, everything that you just said to me, joke's on you. I was pretending to be upset. This is actually about you. What did you guys think about that and having this, you know, flipping, this, like, turning the mirror back on Chidi?
Well, I've been saying this since day one. Jason's actually kind of smart. He has his moments, okay? And so for him to flip that was probably my favorite part of today's episode because I didn't see it coming. Knowing his character and how he really is, I didn't see that coming at all. I didn't see him tricking Chidi. So that was amazing. I loved that. But it was also really true. And I hope that the viewers of, you know, the audience of the show realizes that, you know, we do that to ourselves all the time. And that's a lesson we should all learn, that the advice that we give other people, we should be taking for ourselves as well, which is easier said than done, of course. But yeah, I thought it was a fun moment. What about you?
Yes, 2020, like just like you said, it's hard. Yeah, everyone asks you for advice, or people who say this all the time. They're like, I'm not in a relationship, but my friends in a relationship come to me for advice, right? So that's such a common thing. And it's like, they're not in a relationship currently or whatever. Maybe they've experienced it, but they're not in the moment. And you have to be in the moment for yourself. And this is, I would give props for Jason for this entire season. This is probably one of the biggest things that he's done intelligent-wise. So, yeah, I thought it was an amazing part of the whole scene.
I loved it, too, because I also didn't see it coming, but they even have where when you go back and you watch these, you pick up on they'll tease something right before it happens. So he's like, I feel like the Montagues and Capulets. And he's like, how do you know that? He's like, I read some books. Like, we didn't
see him doing.
They're in his files. Don't worry.
You just imagine the books that he would read would be like Molotov cocktails for dummies, not like Romeo and Juliet. But, you know, props to Jason.
But, sorry, I was just going to say, you also have to remember that they've lived like 800 different versions of their neighborhood and different experiences. So that they've grown. I guess Jason absorbed some of the knowledge in those 800 lives. And yeah, I guess that it took 800 lives for Eleanor and Chidi to finally be in that place where they can tell each other every dark secret about their lives. It just took a lot.
I like too that there's still new things. Like Chidi's even like, the first thing I'm going to do when I get to the good place is I'm going to learn how to play guitar so that you don't get bored of me. Like, you know, kind of these ideas of like, I'm going to keep improving myself and keep being different so that, you know, we can grow together as people.
Yeah. Which is different than what he was doing in Chidi Axing in that episode where he was just laid back because, okay, I have my soulmate in Simone and I'm just done, you know, I'm good. And he just kind of gave up. So it's nice to see that that's no longer the case now that he is going to the good place for real. And yeah, like you said, he's going to improve himself. That's pretty cool.
I like that. But we also see somebody else who is having kind of an existential crisis. Michael. Because we have where they are trying to go through and tell these good place architects, all right, these bad place architects, all right, you guys are going to be designing the new system for the bad place. They keep talking about the penis flattening. I'm like, they have made so many references to flattening penises. It's like, oh, we just skipped to phobias. Like, you're afraid of snakes? We throw in some snakes. You really like your normal cylindrical penis? Flatten it. It's like,
they do. They talk about it a lot.
Okay, fair. They're like, we only have a few more episodes left. Like, pick your favorite buzzwords and just throw them in. Penis flattening. But we have also chainsaw bears making their appearance. We have Megan doing... And this scene was hilarious to me, having where the bad place architects are still kind of trying to figure out what they're doing, and they have these chainsaw bears showing up just in the dinner party and then make it smaller and more relatable. So they just make a smaller chainsaw bear that hates Mondays and loves bacon. Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
That's
I'm like,
me on a Monday.
That's a test. I'm like, there you go. I didn't think Megan's test was that bad.
Yeah.
But
it was just so true to the character of the demons, too, because when they say make it, you know, more relatable and smaller, then that's exactly what they did. They just made the bear smaller and more... It's just really perfect.
But we have a perfect return as well. Vicky returns, and she has done a lot of contemplating as she is restructured from the goo. And now her test is actually pretty spot on. She's created this very difficult, realistic situation where Tahani is at Camilla's party, and is trying to, you know, figure out what she should do in this situation. Only problem is Vicky doing so well at this has now given Michael this weird Sisyphus complex where he feels like he has to keep rolling a boulder up a hill, and if he doesn't, then he doesn't have a purpose anymore. What did you guys think about this idea of like, if I don't have a specific task, then I don't have a purpose, then I don't have worth? It seems like this is kind of an even bigger philosophical idea that they're tackling with Michael and his insecurities, but to an even bigger degree.
Yeah, I agree actually, because I think that it's something that everybody deals with, right? We are all looking to have purpose in life, to have something that we are meant to do and be here for. And Michael had, you know, he was a demon before. He was just torturing people, and then he had this great idea about the neighborhood. So now he's in charge and he's growing, and that's great. And then his purpose was to make the neighborhood better, and then his purpose was to help these humans become better, and then the afterplace. So he's had all these steady things one after the other, and now it's done, and there's nothing left. And it's kind of, I think, representative of real life, which is kind of what you were talking about, where you go to middle school, you go to high school, you go to now, okay, I have to go to college. Okay, now I have to find a job. But then after you find that job, like, what is my purpose in life? Like, what is it that I really want to be doing with my time? So I think that it parallels real life in a cool way.
Because he's essentially retiring. Right. He's passing the torch down to Vicky, but doing it in a way where he knows that they are not going to respect her if they don't make it look like she's staging a coup.
Well, that's true to demons in general, right? Because they're demons and they have to be tricked. Yeah, it's like little children.
He's giving. Not only is he passing the torch, but he's doing it in a way that burns the bridge for him, where he knows that this is the end. I'm giving it to Vicky. I will not be coming back. She is going to be the one who is now going to lead this architect
Yeah.
convention almost.
Yeah, which is a big thing for him to do because he has put so much time and effort into his project that now for him to just pass on the torch to Vicky, whom he never really got along with, it's a big deal, and it just shows how much he's improved as a character as well, right? Character development and whatnot.
Like, that's his purpose, maybe, to go through that step. Because he feels, it's never ending.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, when you reach retire, okay, let's start at 25. You have a quarter life crisis, then you have a midlife crisis, and you are retired. And now it's kind of like the reverse. Like, everyone wants to retire early and have a good time and la-di-da. And so for Michael to be going through this, you kind of see that he's more in tune with himself.
Yeah, that's true.
And so then this is his moment. Actually, now that I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah, it is
this is his moment for himself and his evolution.
It's interesting too that we see kind of like this conclusion for Michael of like, okay, well, now I've accomplished this goal, so I don't know what my next goal is going to be, but it'll be something. I'll figure it out on the way. It felt very conclusive, and then the end of this episode, it felt to me almost like it could be the series finale.
Yeah.
Because then we see the golden hot air balloon come back that we had seen before that was a fake, fake out to the good place, but now it's the actual one to the good place. What did you guys think of this whole aspect of they hear the chime go off where they're like, okay, the test is in place. The first person just got into the good place. Who is it going to be? And then they find out, okay, the judge all agreed. Everyone agreed. You don't have to go through the test. You guys are in. You're going to the good place officially. What did you feel about this moment where it's saying, we still have 3 episodes left, but we know that our core 4, our soul squad, are officially on their way to the good place with Michael?
It was amazing because it's been 4 years of the show seeing them really struggle. So for them to actually finally get to the good place, it's just like a victory for all of us, right? But at the same time, I agree with you. It could have been the season finale, but I think it's just a testament to Mike Schur and the way he creates shows because that's what we expect, and now there's still more to come. And I'm excited to see kind of where he takes this because he could have ended it right there and there. Like, okay, they're going to the good place. There's a new system in place. They're done. But no, we have so much left to do. I'm really curious about the other 4 characters, to be honest, because where the hell were they?
Yeah.
They weren't there today at
Brett,
all.
Simone, yeah.
And I know not everybody loves those characters, but we dealt with them for so long that
half the season.
Yeah, more. Yeah, more than half the season.
But
But so much time on them and their character development and seeing them with their point system and them working towards them. So now where the hell are they?
Where are you?
Yeah,
I'm back.
What's going on? Did y'all miss them?
I feel like we'll see them at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, because we do still have 3 episodes left, and Mike Schur doesn't really leave any loose strings. He always kind of ties up any loose ends. So I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's weird that they're just not a part of it, Anyway.
Well, before we dive into some predictions of where they could be as well, do you guys have any final thoughts on this episode or any standout moments?
I think it's interesting that Vicky is now in charge of the Afterlife.
I agree.
Just because she's been not our favorite character.
Definitely
on the
not.
show.
No, I was mad actually. So whatever.
Yeah,
But I love Tia Sakar so much that I'm like, okay, I'm fine with it. You're Sabine Wren, so whatever. Like,
I love her. I agree. Yeah, I love the actress. Love the actress, but the character we haven't really loved because she's been a pain since day one.
It's interesting too, though. I love that they have the 1.8 Jeremy Bury Me Later too,
Yes.
like their time equivalent.
Yes.
But that Vicky is now kind of this neutral, where she's saying good place architects this way, bad place architects this way. We're figuring everything out. Like it's weird, kind of seeing her progression. But I agree with you. It did seem a little rushed because most of her kind of mental hurdles was happening off camera while she was re-gooing, ungooing herself into restructure.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call that.
It would have been cool if we had gotten like 2 minutes at the end of every episode leading up to this of her going through that. Just like a small...
Something to make us
just like a
Be like,
lead in.
so what's Vicky doing?
Yeah, exactly. I think they were trying to go for that surprise factor of, oh, here, she's back kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been cool to kind of slowly, gradually get to that place of this is where she's going, because now she is leading the Afterlife, and it's kind of a big deal. She was kind of training for that position with Michael in the neighborhood when she was helping him out with all those hundreds of resets, but...
Maybe they'll flash back. Or maybe they'll show,
maybe.
like, or I don't know.
Maybe.
Do they need
Probably
to?
not. I don't think they will, because
It's
it'll
not
be
that
like,
important.
yeah, because now we've
Not
already
too
seen the
important.
conclusion.
Yeah.
That's true. But my favorite part of today's episode was definitely Shawn and Michael, and Shawn just having to come to terms with the fact that they're working together.
Working together. Hated it.
Yes.
Hated everything about it. I thought this was an awesome episode, and it also had a lot of references, which brings us into our special segment, For Your Reference.
Yes. All right, guys. So there was a lot today. Eleanor mentioned the U.S. presidents. She mentioned Make-A-Wish Foundation, Frida Kahlo. She mentioned Prince. Yes, thank you for the thanks. Jason mentioned Montagues and Capulets, and then he listed like Wendy's and a bunch in that
whole bunch.
in that one sentence. You had Tahani, of course, mentioned Taylor Swift and her dance moves, which was amazing. Chidi
Longest
mentioned
4 years of my life.
I know, I love that. Chidi mentioned Oscar Schindler. There was a demon that mentioned Hitler. Vicky, imitating Tahani, mentioned Questlove and Olivia Munn. She also mentioned a dance battle from West Side Story, which honestly would have been pretty cool to see, and I was waiting for it to happen, and it didn't. And then Janet mentioned Alexa, like Amazon's Alexa, which was really funny, I'm not gonna lie. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but in the new neighborhood, the new Afterlife Architect Training School grounds, there was a celestial perk, like in Friends. Perk, you know,
the coffee
Central
shop.
Perk.
like Central Perk. It was celestial perk, and that was awesome. So those were your references of the evening.
And keep in mind that every time a bell rings, someone gets into the good place. So
Oh,
look at all those people you just sent to the good place, Ryan.
It's awesome.
Now, we also have a little bit of news this week as well.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, guys, Good Place news and gossip for the evening. Last year, Michael Schur, creator of The Good Place, had hinted that there was a line in season 4 that had all the actors laughing uncontrollably for 3.5 minutes. Now we know that the line was from season 4, episode 10, which was last week. He said, "Shawn, you used to be cool, but you've changed, man." Manny Jacinto plays Jason, told TV Line that it's so slow of a line that you can't get through it without cracking up. William Jackson Harper, who plays Chidi, was laughing and told TV Line, "Shawn has never, ever been cool. No one's ever liked him. It's just out of nowhere." And the pause Manny took before it, and then the way he did it so slowly, like he's really asking him to consider himself. Apparently, Ted Danson was crying, literally crying with laughter while they were filming this. And Jacinto said, "Mark Evan Jackson, who plays Shawn, could not hold it together. I had to look at him straight in the face." You'll be able to see this in the Good Place season 4 blooper reel. I am very much looking forward to watching that. Yes. And the second piece of news for the evening is Michael Schur had an interview with the Daily Beast. He said, when he was asked about how he feels about the Good Place ending, he said, quote, "Endings are hard emotionally, but I feel good. We made the decision after the 3rd season to bring the show to a close, and there have been many days since that I have felt sad about that, but I've never felt regret. It was the right decision. I'm happy that we did it that way. We were in a very rare way able to execute the show from beginning to end exactly the way we wanted to, so any complaints are entirely my fault." So I think that that's pretty cool that he's owning that this is what he wanted to do and he's happy about it.
But I don't think anybody's complaining complaining about it either. So I'm like,
No.
it's pretty easy to take ownership when everyone's like, your show is amazing and it's one of the best of the decade.
Yeah.
That's fair. We'll see. We'll
What's
see
not to
how
like?
it ends, though. We'll see how it ends. And then he was actually asked what he thought about the reboot of The Office coming. If there's a reboot of The Office coming to NBC's Peacock streaming service, and he responded, "I don't think anyone would ever do that without creator Greg Daniels at least blessing, if not outright participation. Greg put so much thought and care into that show. The reason it turned out not to be a terrible idea was Greg Daniels. It's way harder than it seems to do that premise well, so it would take a heroic effort. If it's not him, it would take an incredibly thoughtful and careful person to execute it properly, but I don't know, we'll see." Cool. I would love a new Office. I think that it would be cool if Greg Daniels is a part of it. So.
Well, kind of talking about a little bit more Good Place news as well. I actually got to interview Manny Jacinto and got to talk with William Jackson Harper a couple times this week.
Yes.
And it was kind of cool because we were talking about some of the hidden Easter eggs. I mentioned Brent with his Top Gun thing and Manny's casting. And I asked them what some of their favorite Easter eggs in the show were. And William Jackson Harper loved that when Disco Janet was marbleized, that she turned into a little disco ball.
Oh, yeah.
And Manny Jacinto actually revealed that inside of Mindy St. Clair's house, and you wouldn't be able to see it unless you were actually in the set, they mention what is on the jukebox. And then they go through,
cool.
So he goes through everything that's on the jukebox, which is pretty
so
cool.
cool.
So you can check those interviews out at MEA Worldwide, MEAWW.com. So
That's really cool. Actually, just tag, off of that, we actually are interviewing, guys. Next week, we will be interviewing Brandon Scott Jones, who plays John Wheaton on The Good Place. He will be here in studio with us, so make sure to tune in next week.
now, speaking of next week, we got some predictions for what's going to happen.
TV predictions.
What do you guys think is going to happen?
I'm so nervous if they're gonna like The Good Place or not. That's my big. I'm having like major anxiety that they might not like it there.
What The Good Place is going to, because we haven't actually seen it.
Yes.
Oh.
We don't
will
actually
it
know
be
what it's
too
going to be.
much?
That's true.
That's my prediction. If that's a prediction.
Will it be something that they're not, because it's not what they're anticipating, they feel like they don't like it?
Yes.
That's interesting.
That's possible. That's something that definitely is a theme that could...
Well, we've already seen that you get to smell whatever you like, right? That they already showed us that in past episodes, but that's a good one. I think that next week we'll be finally seeing The Good Place. And I also think that we'll probably be seeing the other 4 characters coming into the testing mode. And so that'll show us how the Afterlife testing mode is being used and how it's going with Vicky. Using the characters we already know is my guess. So we'll see.
I think they're going to probably have some snags with the test and need to bring the Soul Squad back for some help at some point.
Okay, interesting.
Because we still have a few episodes left. So it seems like, okay, well...
What are they
if you're
do?
still in testing phase, even if it is 1.8 Jeremy Bury Me Later,
Yeah, well.
then it's like, it could be something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll find out.
We'll find out next
find
week.
out next week.
And hopefully you guys will also tune in with us right back here at AfterBuzz TV next week. And be sure to leave us your comments. Let us know what you guys think are going to happen below. While you're there, give us that thumbs up, rate, subscribe, give us all that good stuff. And where can everybody keep up with you guys?
You can find me on all social media platforms at I am Bollygirl. That's Bolly girl. I post about all the after shows that I am in on there. I also have a fun new Bolly Star filter that you can check out on my Instagram stories. And don't forget, next week we have John Wheaton, aka Brandon Scott Jones, here in studio with us.
And you can catch me on Instagram at @storyof_Samantha, and I'll be on Nancy Drew coming up next.
Woo! And I'm Elena Jordan. You guys can find me on Instagram at Elena Jordan and on Twitter at Elena Jordan. And you can also catch me at MEA Worldwide. That's MEAWW.com, interviewing some of your favorite celebrities. So, till next time, have a great night. We'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.